my brief review of the lab paperwork and looking at the hoodie, it appears that I made a mistake.
Oh! I made a mistake? That's your art.
What could be more important for a context than the alleged collision that never occurred?
I'm sorry, you guys. I can't get this look off my face. I'm just so grossed out. You'll have to excuse me. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up. It's the Law with Attorney Larry Foreman. Folks, today we are going to witness something incredible, something amazing, something so shocking that absolutely just eviscerates my belief and my faith in our judicial system. And I am part of it because I represent a lot of people in my own private practice in criminal defense and personal injury on the civil side. Don't forget to call us if you need us, by the way, 1-844-774-HEARD. But this is not the point of this video. The point of this video is to commend Robert Alessi for his motion to dismiss for a mistrial because Brennan got up there and he lied to the jury about the punctures in John's sweatshirt, that in reality they don't exist. He was conflating the dummy from the experiment of Dr. Wolf and the real sweatshirt that John O'Keefe was wearing on the night of his death. Let's see what Alessi does, how Brennan responds, and how is Bev going to rule. Let's go, folks. Oh, and before I forget, if you have not checked out our members-only content, go check it out. Membership started at 99 cents for an intern, and so you can check out all of the content that we have under the paywall, and most of it is going to be Diddy at this juncture.
Your Honor, the defense moves for a mistrial with prejudice based upon intentional misconduct that just occurred before the court and for the jury. And what I'd like to do, Your Honor, this regards the hoodie, and this regards questioning and representations in questioning by Mr. Brennan. And what I'd like to and need to do, Your Honor, is to have two documents marked as exhibits, and then I am going to use Exhibit 88, which is an evidence, which is the hoodie, which is why I'm putting on the evidence gloves, and it will become quite obvious very shortly what the issues are.
All right, so what are the things that you want to have marked?
I would like to have marked the first document. These two documents are from criminalist file, specifically Ms. Maureen Hartnett's notes regarding cuttings from the hoodie sweatshirt that's in the crime lab file folder.
Okay.
So the first, the back of the hoodie. So with Your Honor's permission, I would have that marked for identification. That is the back of the hoodie, Your Honor.
To read this, Mr. Alessi? Yes, so is it that there are no holes in the back? There were no holes on the back of the sweatshirt?
That's only part of it, but that is in fact the case, Your Honor.
Okay. I can't tell entirely from ZZZ, but if that's your argument, why for identification appears to support that.
Your Honor, what we just saw is Attorney Brennan question Dr. Wolf with regard to the hoodie sweatshirt that heretofore has been in the plastic casing for trial. And this is the, what happened was Attorney Brennan held up the casing with a hoodie sweatshirt, went to the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. First point to note, Mr. Brennan did not show Mr. Jackson the back of the hoodie sweatshirt, didn't give Mr. Jackson an opportunity to look at it. So to do it in order, Mr. Brennan takes the hoodie sweatshirt in the casing, without notice, shows it to Dr. Wolf, and shows the back of the hoodie, which has certain holes, and I'm going to limit calling them holes to do this chronologically. I'm going to refer to exactly what they are in moments.
Okay, so I need to see it. I know you've got gloves on. Where is it right now?
So here is the back of the hoodie.
All right, thank you.
It's very obvious that these are cutting holes cut by the criminalists, and I'm going to get to the back of this alone. But I would like to do it, and certainly entertain any honor question put in a logical order.
Sure, so I'm not What about the jurors and lunch? How long do you think this will be?
I think this will take
What?
about 10 to...
What? You're joking, Bev. You're joking. Alessi is making an insane argument to you, asking for a mistrial, and she's just like, listen, how long is this going to take? I don't have time for this. It's lunchtime almost. Like, Bev, you outdo yourself every time without fail.
15 minutes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Nesson.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I just want to get the flow back going here in the logic. So, and I'll do it quickly. So Mr. Brennan grabs the hoodie sweatshirt inside the casing, doesn't show it to Attorney Jackson, goes up. We have no idea that this was going to happen. Goes up, confronts the witness, Dr. Wolf, shows the back of the hoodie sweatshirt. To my knowledge, the first time the back has been referenced of the hoodie sweatshirt. Shows Dr. Wolf, confronts him, and basically says, couldn't these holes be caused, and I'm paraphrasing, from a fall backwards? Obviously positing in the juror's mind after, remember, we just saw all kinds of videos with regard to Rescue Randy and impact at 24, 29 miles an hour, more aptly 29 miles per hour, and damage to the hoodie, etc. So what then happens is Dr. Wolf is asked a series of questions, very much with the indication that somehow, in the clear implication, that these holes are being caused by road rash, and that the holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt, Exhibit 88, could have been or likely were caused with regard to some type of impact. Clearly presented to the jurors with that in mind in that questioning. Here is the basis for the mistrial with prejudice.
By the way, see, when Hanky raises his voice, it comes off as hollow, empty, meaningless. Alessi is angry because Brennan just lied openly in open court about a critical fact. Critical, absolutely crucial. Holes in the back of the sweatshirt. If there are holes showing evidence of like sliding on ice or ground or asphalt or whatever, like there were in the Rescue Randy video, I mean, that is going to taint the jurors' minds, and it is false. It is a lie. Alessi is angry, and he is conveying his anger. When Brennan is up there yelling, it's just like, child, sit down. Why are you yelling? Your anger is misplaced. It has no basis in reality. It is misguided. It is empty, hollow. You're just loud for no reason. See the difference?
Those holes in the back of the hoodie sweatshirt are clearly, unequivocally, without doubt, caused nothing to do with any type of event on or about January 29, 2022.
So do you have something you said when you said obviously cut by the criminalist? Do you have something that shows that chart that I couldn't understand quickly? Is it on that?
Yes, Your Honor. What
Okay.
we have is two documents to show that.
Right. So the second one, when was that provided?
These, when you say provided, you mean with regard to when did the defense get these in
Yes.
a discovery? Let me get the date, Your Honor.
Sure.
Notice of discovery, May 2023.
Okay, thank you.
And I will note, Exhibit YYY. The only, I believe, I'm holding up YYY, which is the back of the hoodie. I believe is the only one, to my knowledge, not put into evidence. Not turned into evidence. This is the one that it clearly shows the hoodie before the criminalist started her work with the cuts. There are no cuts to YYY, and if we need to, we'll bring Ms. Hartnett in to confirm.
All right, so is ZZZ in evidence?
ZZZ is not in evidence, and that is part of the basis for the mistrial. It is no coincidence that these two documents are not in evidence. because if they were in evidence, they would clearly have prevented the stunt that we just saw occur with regard to Dr. Wolf. So that is part of the intentional misconduct, Your Honor, is these are...
I'm not going to lie. I wish I was there that day. I wish I was in court witnessing this in person. Unfortunately, I was there the day before on Friday. This was Monday, June 9th. But still, I am eating this with a spoon. And by the way, have you noticed those two little crap stains that are sitting right next to Alessia? And they're just like, she's making like all sorts of faces at him. Like, I'm like, learn to control yourself, okay? A grown man is speaking. Sit down, child.
Documents from the criminalist's file. It's the Commonwealth's documents. And it is very clear when you go to Exhibit ZZZ, the cuts that the criminalist made to the back of the hoodie are specified.
So where on that? Because when I quickly looked at it, I
Oh
didn't
my
see it.
God,
Where
Bev.
does it say? Go ahead and read it to me, please.
It's item number 7. I'll read it from the top. LIMS 22-21844. Analyst MSH, which is the initials for Ms. Hartnett. Dates.
I swear, do you notice Bev's gaslighting of Alessi, by the way? She's gaslighting him. She's like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I don't quite understand. Can you explain? I don't know. You understand everything, Bev. You're just pretending like you're not. Sit down!
11/2022, May 12, 2023, and then May 18, 2023. And what she does is she's got the...
You know what? Can you bring it up to Ms. Wolf?
I certainly can, Your Honor. And I can conduct my argument from right here if that helps, Your Honor.
And just want to see, point out to me where it says, where it shows the gap.
This is the backs. So you can see the back of the hoodie. That's the back of the hoodie head. And then you can see the various...
She's pretending like she cares.
Let's see. He's running. You should come up and make a business.
And I'm cutting.
So, Mr. Wes's do. This is my wife. I didn't see much. Here was outside.
Disgusting.
Can I get it? I'll check. He was cut. I mean, he was right. But if I can, just
I want to clarify this. Yes, I get well in this one. Let me just make sure I did.
Mr. Jackson, it says exterior front, what Mr. Alessi was pointing me to.
Oh, Brennan knows. Brennan knows. Look at his face. He's just like, he had that whelp, like, well, shoot. Because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know how the judge is going to rule. The judge could grant a mistrial, theoretically. If she was a real judge, you know, she's not a real judge. She's just the Commonwealth's play puppet. So because she's not a real judge, she's obviously going to rule in their favor and against the defense no matter what happens. I mean, there could literally be a, there was, I think it was Runkle of the Bailey. He made a pretty funny tweet. He was like, Brennan could show up and shoot and kill 3 of the jurors in open court, and Bev would just sit there and be like, I'll allow it. Anyway, do we still have enough jurors to render a decision? All right, Mr. Brennan, please continue with your questioning of the witness. Like, that's how egregious this is. And he's absolutely right. Shout out to you, buddy. I met him at the Johnny Depp trial in May of 22, like 3+ years ago.
I can wish your low U print the back. And Your Honor, are you comfortable using the computer at the back? Because I think we just had the wrong one.
We need to mark it, though.
Understood. He's pretty here right now. We wanted to have the front and the back to show all the cuttings, but what only printed out was the front. We are now printing the back. Your Honor is correct. Okay. So, Your Honor, what is being printed is which we will mark, will be the front of the hoodie. The purpose of Exhibit ZZZ and the one that is being printed is to show and to give the court, and we're going to request to give to the jury the complete picture and the complete true story about these holes in the hoodie that were presented as if they were caused in some manner by something else other than the...
So that seems perfectly reasonable, and I'd be inclined to do that.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. And here is the reason for the motion for a mistrial with prejudice. On its own, to do this, and you put together all of the parts of what just occurred, you start with the fact that and if I could, Your Honor, now that I have it get marked so I can then refer to it.
All right.
Thank you.
Can you print extra copies too, so I can have my own copy?
Absolutely.
And for the Commonwealth to see?
Then I'm going to show the Commonwealth what I is printed.
I mean, I will give Alessi that he's definitely got the judge bothered. Look at her covering up her face and like looking very uncertain and unhappy. She doesn't like. I mean, look, she lets Brennan get away with a lot of stuff. Okay, that is a known fact by now. But even Brennan should know where to pump the brakes. Okay. And Brennan decided in his infinite wisdom that he's going to cross not one, not two, but 3 lines in one fell swoop and hopefully go undetected, protected by Auntie Bev, you know, the pretend judge basically a prosecutor in a robe, as we like to call her. And we all know who those judges are in our own practice, attorneys here in Kentucky. We know who those judges are. The problem is this is the only judge that they have on this case, and she's been on this case in trial 1 and now trial 2, and if there's going to be trial 3, she may be on there as well, if she stays on. But anyway, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. Folks, let me tell you, when I am saying that Alessi has got a magnificent point and Bev actually is rattled by it, is a little surprising. I'm not going to lie, because up until this point, Bev just lets everything slide. She just lets Brennan get away with everything, like I said. Even if he came in, executed 3 jurors, she'd be like, all right, moving on to your next witness, Mr. Brennan. You know, there is nothing stopping these two. And by that, I mean Brennan and Bev. So I love the fact that she, even in her corruption, she can't hide her despair at Alessi's motion and anger. So at least it's something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. I wish there was more, but you all will see what I mean in a minute. Spoiler alert.
They agree the score for you.
Sure.
It gives another document chain plus the API.
Well, Mr. Brennan, since viewing that, we may head to Madam Court Recorder, the chain of custody document for the and that's vacuum mark is the next exhibit in order.
Okay.
And then, with Your Honor's permission, I would have Madam Court Recorder again and both up to Your Honor, so Your Honor can see what I'm referencing.
Thank you.
Exhibit BBB, B for ID.
You.
Here's documents of what.
Do you need this, Mr. Alessi?
I do not need either of them, Your Honor, and I have the extra copies as well. Thank you. Okay, so Your Honor, I now have enough copies for Your Honor and for your common law.
Thank you.
If I did have one set, that would be rare. Yeah, no. Thank you.
We still do not have ZZ's.
What?
All right. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Alessi.
So, Your Honor, to do this quickly chronologically, so we have a hoodie sweatshirt that was brought into the criminalist, Ms. Hartman, with the back of the hoodie with no holes on it. The criminalist makes cuts to the back of the hoodie, makes cuts to the front of the hoodie. The exhibit, Your Honor, depicts those. There's a chain of custody document that describes the chain of custody for the hoodie and the cuts in the chronology. And of course, we have Exhibit 88, which is the hoodie. So, what Mr. Brennan did, and I'm now pulling Exhibit 88, he holds up the back of the hoodie, which has cuts in the back from the criminalist, somebody from the Commonwealth, a witness in this case, Ms. Hartman. She's testified, and Mr. Brennan has indicated he wants her to come back and testify, which we welcome. And now what we have is we have holes in the back of the sweatshirt that were dramatically held up to and confronted with Dr. Wolf, and then the jury sees it.
Disturbing.
With the
Disturbing.
clear, unmistakable, purposeful intention of having the jury conclude that these holes could have come from events on January 29th of 2022, when in fact the Commonwealth well knows from its own documents, from its own criminal list,
Yes.
those holes in the back were caused by their criminalist as part of their examination and sampling of the hoodie.
I think I learned why these two crap stains are rolling their eyes, because they know that Brennan was caught red-handed and they have nothing, and they're just terrified and upset that they were caught. They're not upset at Alessi. They're actually upset at Brennan for getting caught in this charade, because you're supposed to fly under the radar, and he decided to fly above the radar for a minute, and this is what happens. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable stuff.
What could be more egregious?
Nothing.
What could be more misleading than that? And what could be more important for a context than the alleged collision that never occurred? That's the topic before some of the most significant and probative witnesses in this trial that the Commonwealth has been attacking from the jump of pretrial. They picked the most opportune, sensitive time to pull this stuff. This is intentional.
Yes.
This is irremediable.
Yes.
This is on the key issue of this case, whether there was any collision at all.
By the way, just for the record, for those of you who may not be attorneys out there, Alessi knows he's going to lose this argument. He already knows. He's making it for appeal purposes, just in case, if on the off chance the jury does end up convicting or something happens, they have this issue on appeal. Trust me when I say this, when Alessi is up there arguing with passion, fervor, emotion, and arguing the truth, he knows that in any normal court, it would be granted and he would win. But this is not a normal court. This is a corrupt fantasy kangaroo court. And because of that, he already knows he's going to lose the motion, but he has to argue passionately because he's doing it on behalf of his client, which is Karen Reed. So it doesn't matter. Even though I've done this before myself. When you know 100% everything you are saying is about to be overruled, denied, whatever, but you have to do it anyway. It is a very, very unique position to be in when you're arguing with passion and everybody's listening. Yes, yes, yes. And then you're like, but it's going to get denied and denied. Oh, okay. Anyway, moving on to my next point. Next witness, Mr. Alessi. You know, it's like, there's no winning. There's absolutely no winning in this courtroom, except for the prosecution. Prosecution just has to, oh, Mr. Alessi, did you sigh deeply? Is there a problem? Can I get you a glass of water? Like, that's Bev with Brennan. You know what I mean? Mr. Brennan, are you okay? Oh, I'm just lamenting, Your Honor. What are you lamenting? Is there anything I can do for you, Hanky? I need a tissue, Judge. I need a tissue to wipe off this tear. Oh, bailiff, would you please be so kind as to provide Mr. Brennan with a tissue to wipe his little nostrils? Thank you very much, bailiff. Alessi, what do you want? Yeah, uh-huh. Okay. Anyway, Hanky, where were we?
On its own, Your Honor, on its own, this is a mistrial with prejudice. But I add to that what just happened, and I'm not going to repeat or go into other than to reference. This comes on just mere days after the Commonwealth raised the specter of absence of DNA on the same hoodie sweatshirt without having the criminalist, Ms. Kuhn from UC Davis come in. I know Your Honor already ruled on that.
All right, so let's move along from
Right, well, that's what, and I'm going to come back to this. Why is this occurring, Your Honor? Why is this happening? The Commonwealth has no case. They have no collision. They are desperate and are trying to create evidence of specters of collision where the evidence doesn't support it. So what have we come to? We've come to the manufacture of evidence.
Wow.
We've come to, incredibly, taking a hoodie, a key piece of evidence in this case, and holding up to Dr. Wolf, the ARCA expert, to try to make it seem like Dr. Wolf didn't do his job. You didn't account for these holes. How could you be a credible accident reconstructionist when you talk about some holes, but you don't talk about these holes? Knowing all along the holes that Attorney Brennan is trying to impeach Dr. Wolf on were caused by the Commonwealth's own criminalists as part of sampling.
Oh.
I don't believe one could come up with more misleading, misdirecting, elucidation of testimony than this on the key issue in the case.
I mean, do you realize how disgusting that is? Brennan knows those holes were made by the criminalist, and he is pretending, literally fantasizing, and lying openly, unapologetically to these jurors. Alessi's anger is very well placed, and it is extremely poignant and on point. There is no empty barking in his voice, like Brennan's, for example. He loves to bark with no bite. Alessi is biting and barking. Huge difference.
We have irrefutable, objective evidence, and I will state that it's more than interesting that none of these exhibits that Your Honor now has marked for identification were put in evidence by the Commonwealth. Isn't it some coincidence?
Because it hurts
that
the case.
These are the one, and the only one of the, with regard to the hoodie, the back of it's not in, all of the rest of them are, but these aren't. Your Honor, I think there is one and only one conclusion, in that this is intentional, that it is
he got caught.
A matter of such significance and of such misconduct and intentional that it merits the sanction of a mistrial with prejudice.
And by the way, for those of you wondering, what does it mean, mistrial with prejudice? It means mistrial, the case is over, case dismissed. With prejudice means the government cannot bring the charges back. It is over, kaput, bury it. It's no zombie, no resurrection stone, nothing. Dead, 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 dead case. End of story. It's not a not guilty or a guilty. It's not we can retry it. It's just end it now. End it now.
The amount of effort, the amount of work, I can't even begin to think to remedy this in front of the jury, to go backwards on this. That should not befall the defense. That should befall the prosecution. Ms. Reed, again, is entitled, like every other defendant in this wonderful commonwealth, to a fair trial. The prosecution is supposed to be held to a higher standard, to do justice, to create a fair trial. This is the antithesis of a fair trial. Miss Reed's rights under the Constitution and the Declaration of Rights have once again been trampled on, and it is becoming evidently clear the more desperate the prosecution gets because it can't prove its theory, including its own medical examiner can't support them, that they're now resorting to conduct like this. Your Honor, at some point,
enough is enough.
This has to come to an end.
Yes.
At some point, Ms. Reed's rights have to be protected.
Yes.
At some point, confidence in the judicial system.
Yes.
The public's confidence
Yes.
in the judicial system.
Yes.
That prosecutors will conduct themselves with their duty to present a fair trial.
Yes.
That has to be enforced at some point for Ms. Reed to receive the fair trial that she and every other defendant in this commonwealth is entitled to.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Brennan. Did you hear her voice? All right. Thank you. Not interested in anything you just had to say. Mr. Brennan, my love, do you have any words of advice on what I am going to do? Here we go.
My brief review of the lab paperwork and looking at the hoodie, it appears that I made a mistake.
Oh! I made a mistake? That's your art. Calm down, Larry. Let's see what he has to say.
And so I think what should happen is there should be a curative instruction. There should be a stipulation. The court should instruct the jury that during Mr. Brennan's cross-examination, he asked Dr. Wolf about holes on the sweatshirt or holes on the back of Mr. O'Keefe's sweatshirt.
He's trembling.
The parties agree the holes were made by a crime lab technician. This was done inadvertently, but should not have been asked. The court should strike.
This was done inadvertently? I made a mistake? Is this guy high? I want whatever drugs he's taking. You know exactly what you did, Brenny. And you did that with intent. You did that hoping you would not get called out and hoping that you would not get caught. Well, guess what? Both of those things happened, buddy. And there's no escape from it now.
Questions and the answers. And you should instruct the jury there to completely disregard any questions or answers about the holes in the back of the sweatshirt. And the court should allow the defense to introduce the lab paperwork.
All right.
Did you catch that little whelp smirk at the end? He knows he's busted. Wide open.
Oh.
Wide open.
I'm not going to allow the mistrial.
Well, of course, obviously. Of course.
What I'm going to do is instruct the jurors. I'm going to put in what's been marked for identification, Y, Z, A, and B. 4 of each letters. I'm going to put all these into evidence. They can be displayed for the jury, and I'm going to instruct the jury that during the cross-examination of Dr. Wolf, Mr. Brennan asked him about holes in the back of the sweatshirt and whether or not they perhaps could have come from events implying or something like that.
Perhaps? What?
I instruct you, you are not permitted to draw any inference that these could have come from the events of January 29th, 2022. And I instruct you further that those holes were made by the criminalist, Ms. Harnett, during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on, I just put the dates aside because they can't see those faces.
I can't stand this woman with such
It's unclear for me. Do you have a better idea, Mr. Leslie, what day these were done? Is it all of those 3 days? Now I see a 4th day. 5/11, no, I'm sorry, 5/11, 5/12, 5/11/2022, 5/12/2023, and 6/18/2023. Those are the 3 dates.
Your Honorable May 18th, the defense filed a waiting test.
I'm sorry, you guys. I can't get this look off my face. I'm just so grossed out. You'll have to excuse me. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. 1-844-774-HURT. If you want to call us, trial lawyers are standing by. 1-844-774-HURT.
That's the probative date.
So May 18th?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's 2023.
Yep. All right. That's what I'm going to do. Is there anything further you want me to include in the instruction? Your rights are saved regarding the mistrial. I disagree with you on that.
Your Honor, I'm not going to go anymore. Your Honor, I appreciate the opportunity to harass this lawyer. Instruction for Your Honor.
All right, so I'll hear you. Go ahead.
So the first, Your Honor, is with regard to two bits. One, I would like the opportunity to have the hoodie sweatshirt held up. Because that's
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
That's number one as part of the stipulation. And
I'm not wording it as a stipulation, and I'm not saying it was inadvertent. I am giving an instruction that they cannot consider it for this purpose, and I am allowing these to be placed into evidence. So it's not a stipulation. It's from me, which I think is more forceful.
I misspoke, Your Honor. I agree, not a stipulation, but just as Your Honor said, with regard to the matter Your Honor said to not take an inference, I would respectfully request that this be handled just like Your Honor did with regard to the rock at 34 Fairview. Your Honor said that rock wasn't present. Honor about the time.
So I do say that when I say Ms. Harnett did this. So rewording
Harnett.
it just a little bit.
Yes.
Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Wolf about holes in the back of the sweatshirt. I instruct you that you are not permitted to draw any inference that those holes were a result of the events on January 29th, So, all right, this is what I'm going to say. So if you're not going to listen to it, that's fine. I've already said it. All right, we can bring the jury in. It's what I said, Mr. Alessi. Okay, well, all right. So it's what I said, Mr. Alessi.
I hate this woman.
I instruct you that you're not permitted to draw an inference that the holes came from the events of January 29, 2025. Those holes.
Now let's see if she actually lives up to her promise to the defense and issue the curative instruction that she claims is going to be more forceful. Anything coming from the court, the jury is going to take very seriously than if it's coming from one of the lawyers. That's absolutely true, but it has to be done the right way.
Holes were made
Let's see.
by the criminalist Ms. Harnett during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on May 18, 2023.
In the off regard last time I took you instead of God drawing, you should conclude that these holes were not present in the booty spreadsheet. They were caused by the criminalist.
Because that's what
So
happened.
I can just leave that all out then and just say Mr. Brennan asked Dr. Wolf about the holes in the sweatshirt. I instruct you that those holes were made by the criminalist Ms. Harnett during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt on May 18. It's probably neater that way anyway. All right, let's bring him in, please.
Just as a housekeeping matter, the sweatshirt has been taken out of the plastic sheathing. It might need to be remarked. The plastic sheathing was marked, but if we're going to put it into a bag or something like that, we might need to have it marked. But we don't need to do that right this second.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Mr. Alessi, you're simply going to stand and hold the sweatshirt, right? Okay.
This is Exhibit 223.
In your eye, we called it, as your honor begins to read,
Does that thesis of Your Honor's action?
No, I want you to hold it up with the bag.
Like,
You do that first, and then I'll give the instruction.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Alessi, why don't you where are you going to stand?
Harry,
Where are you going to stand?
I would suggest, Your Honor, right about here.
All right. So you can stand there, you can hold it up, then I'm going to ask you to put it down, and then I'll give the instruction.
And then I will return it to Mr. Bennett, with the court officer.
Yes, court officer.
Bear with me a moment, Your Honor, and then we put on a there.
All right, then we will take the luncheon recess. When we come back, we'll have the voir dire. Or actually, is Dr. Lepis out of here?
She's on next. We're all up. 22.
For just the measurements?
We're not going to show the exits from his heart and the focus along with the last episode showing up the weaving or
Well, I say it, and I'm going to tell her what they are, so. All right, jurors, that's the back of the sweatshirt that was shown to Dr. Wolf. Okay? Thank you. Why don't you go ahead and put it back in the bag? So, jurors, I instruct you that those holes were made by the criminalist, Ms. Harnett, during the course of her inspection and sampling of the sweatshirt back on May 18th, 2023. Okay?
I know that there were some people who were saying, oh, that was not enough. And I don't know. I firmly disagree because, again, you got to read between the lines, folks. You got to read between the lines. You can't just take it at face value, especially in a corrupt kangaroo court. The jurors are aware that there is something fishy going on. Because when I was in the courtroom, I can tell you from firsthand experience, when Dr. Wolf was testifying and Alan Jackson would just say the word Welcher, objection. Welcher, objection. Welcher, objection. Let me tell you, those jurors were very unhappy because they're like, look, this guy is contradicting everything Welcher has done. Why can't he say his name? Why can't Jackson say the word Welcher without being objected to? And nobody explains to us why it just ends there. Welcher, objection, sustained. Welcher, objection, sustained. And anytime Jackson objects, objection, I'll allow that. I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow that. Do you think the jury does, like, for the course of 30 days, this case has been going on for 30 actual in-court days. That is a full month of, like, cut out all the weekends, cut out all the holidays, cut out all the dark days, cut out all the days the jury had off. That's 30 days they have been in that courtroom listening to testimony. And the trial having been gone on for, what, 10 weeks now? 11 weeks? I will take it. That instruction showed that Hank Brennan is a liar, pants on fire. And trust me when I say this, folks, the jury understood that. I believe in them. I believe, maybe wrongfully so, maybe. I don't know. But I believe that they saw through the BS. They were there when Brennan was like, is this your hoodie with the holes in it? And then the judge is like, the criminalist made those holes. Anyway, moving on to your next witness. Yeah, she made it kind of like brushed it off and, you know, swept it under the rug. But she basically told the jury that Mr. Brennan lied to you. He misled you. And now I'm telling you what the truth is. Sorry, Brenny, I can't protect you on this one. Oh, to me, that was the creme de la creme. But hey, that's just one lawyer's opinion. Don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified anytime I produce more videos. And with that, folks, I'm going to see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. See you in the next video. Bye, everybody.